going, everybody? So in this video I'm going to show you how to take out these crusty floppy bushings out of the suspension on the rear subframe of a front wheel drive 3000 GT. Here's the kit I got from 3SX. See the part number there? So this is a complete suspension bushing kit. So let's just flip through a couple parts here. Give you some new pins to go inside some of the bushings. You will have to reuse a couple of the pins from the old bushings, but you've got enough here to do the control arms, swing arms, the upper swing arm on the rear, the front suspension. They also give you some grease so you can grease up your bushings and your pins prior to reassembly. My rear subframe, I've obviously changed out the rear control arms with some homemade versions. They are completely adjustable. All you have to do is rotate, turn these, and you can see the suspension geometry changing, so it's for camber and toe. So what we have to do first, since I've already pulled the rear subframe off, it's just a matter of removing the bolts on the four corners there. I've already taken the other side off. And then to get the upper swing arm off, you gotta pull this bolt off, take that nut off, pop the ball joint out, and then even if you didn't go aftermarket on these, you have to take this hardware off, and then the rear swing arm will come off, and then the upper swing arm will come off after that. On the parking brake, to get that out, the parking brake cable goes in here. There's actually a little clip that holds the cable onto the back, and then you have to take one of these shoes off because the cable comes out of the hole and it actually clips into one side of the parking brake shoes. So this is the one half of the shoe. To get them off, it's pretty easy. There's a spring with like a captive nut on it. You just have to rotate that, and then that pops off the spring, and then on the here's where the parking brake cable goes into, so you have to kind of pull the cable out, and then that cable slides out through that slot there. Alright, you can start by taking this nut off first. So what you need is a 22 millimeter wrench on one side to hold the nut, and then underneath put a impact gun on it, because it's on there pretty tight. Well, that came off easy because I actually pretty loosened it. So put our nut back on because it's in there pretty good. Get out your hammer, beat it up. So that we can pull it out. The next thing we've got to get off is the nut off the ball joint. You might have to use a breaker bar to get it off. Alright, so I gotta get these rear control arms off. So unfortunately, when I built these, I was only able to find these swage tubes with standard threads in them. So now all my subsequent parts have standard threads in them. So I have to pull all this apart with standard sockets. So to get your ball joint out here, just use your hammer and it pops right off. Alright, here's the next thing we got to do is we actually have to burn the old rubber bushing out of each of the arms here. So to do that, they recommend using oxyacetylene torch. You could probably do it with some MAP gas, but I think, you know, regular gas to solder copper pipes is probably not going to get that hot enough to burn it out. So what you're trying to do is burn it out until it becomes ash. The pin will fall out. So let's get to it. All right, I should mention that there's actually an inner sleeve here, which you'll probably be able to see once I clean this up better, but there's an inner metal sleeve that you don't want to get this too hot that you end up burning through that and that metal sleeve pops out. Because if you don't have that metal sleeve, then the bushings will be too sloppy inside the hole here. So that's arm number 1 burnt out. After this, what we do is we clean all that up. There's a lot of underbody spray also on these control arms, so we'll get all that cleaned off too and get these things looking like brand new. So that's arm number 1. Alright, so the next step is get all this crust cleaned off of these things. First we'll start with the bushing. Got a right angle drill with a wire wheel thing on it, and so let's just get to cleaning these up. Bore you with cleaning the whole thing down, but you can see the metal insert inside of the arm here, and that's, you definitely don't want to blow that out of there or melt it out. Alright, well, here it is, pretty well cleaned up. I used my wire wheel, and then I also used that guy over there. Let's get some of the old factory slag off of it. So what I'm going to do now is give this thing a good power wash, and then we'll prime it and throw a new coat of paint on it. After you've got your parts all cleaned up and painted, they will look like this. So now what we got to do is take our bushings and our pin we cleaned up and just put it all back together. So when these bushings, they'll come together on the inside like that. So you want the ones that touch each other, and then the diameter will fit right inside there. You don't have to press them in or anything. They kind of just fit in there nicely. So we'll put a little grease on each one of them before we slide them in, just to make sure we don't get any squeaking noises. Put that one in. Push that one in, and then we put some grease on our pin, like so. Since now at this point it's also bare metal, and then that just presses in like that. And there you have it, all done. And now we do the same thing on the larger control arm. You can see that there. So let's go get those bushings. I've got the bigger bushings here. So again, same thing. You want to find the pair that, you know, just goes over each one of them, and they slide in the middle. And then each one of these will be connecting like that on the inside of the arm. So let's put our grease back on. Just wipe off the excess, and that's it. All right, so I've got all the parts cleaned up, put a fresh coat of paint on them, got the bushings all pushed in, put the pins installed too. Next video will be getting the rear subframe straightened out. So I've already had to burn the bushings out of the mounting points on the four corners there. So next episode I'll show you how to put new bushings in there. I've got a different approach technique on that one, so stay tuned for that. Until then, thank you for watching.